Okay, doesn't take much effort to work that out. The point of this is, well, it says sex, religion, and politics, but it's not that. I'm not going to talk about sex, religion, and politics. I'm going to talk about why you're not supposed to talk about it and why you are supposed to talk about it. It's such a taboo, and everyone will tell you all the time, don't talk about sex, religion, wait, it did say sex and religion, yeah, and politics. And they are absolutely right. In most situations, completely inappropriate. So why is it that it always pops up? Please. It always pops up. That's why you're not supposed to talk about it. So why does it always pop up? The problem with the topic of sex, religion, and politics, it's not a question of them being taboo subjects. It's more a question of, if you're talking about them, it's more likely than not to offend someone. Of course, depending on the environment, you'll be more than happy to talk about them. This is fine. If you are part of a political party and you had a political rally and talk about the exact same thing, then why not? If you had a religious gathering, everyone agrees with you, why not? If you're in a group where everyone has the same opinion of sex than you, why not? But obviously the reason why people say it's inappropriate is because in a broad sense, you don't talk about this stuff. So that's it. That's it. That's the way it is. But I disagree with the concept of never talk about sex, religion, or politics. I agree that you should never start talking about them. You should never initiate a conversation that has anything to do with them. If one wants to get, if you feel that it's worth the risk, then you could initiate it, you could start it, but you'd have to be pretty damn sure that the person you're talking to, or the reason for you talking to them, would be completely justified in bringing that topic up. I'm not gonna go down that side because that would be based entirely on your interpretation of the situation. Again, I can't tell you what that is. But the reason why it's considered a taboo is because people bring it up all the damn time. So, if people bring it up all the time, why don't you prepare yourself for that? Why don't you prepare yourself for the fact that they are going to bring it up? Why not run away from that? Why is it that people are inclined to freeze, get freaked out? Oh, well, they're talking about these taboo subjects. I was told that's not the right thing to do. So what do? And you freeze. Either you freeze, or if you are passionate about enough about the subject, you will rant, rave, whatever the hell you want to call it. So why don't you just walk into a situation and prepare yourself for the fact that it could happen. The trick is to take your ego out of this. It's always taking your ego out of it. Because you don't have to agree with the person who's talking. You don't have to agree with anything they're saying. But if you explicitly let them know that you disagree, it's going to piss them off. And from experience, trying to divert conversation without offending them, I could probably do, but it's a wasted opportunity. Why do it? Why do it if you know that because it's such a taboo subject means that people have such an emotional attachment to it, which is the best opportunity to get in their good books. It doesn't mean that you have to believe what you're saying. I'm not telling you to lie. You just have to listen to their perspective and go, I understand why you are saying what you are. So if you take the ego out of it, it's not a need for you to express yourself and your opinions. It's irrelevant. If you want to do that, find people who think the same thing. But if you're confronted with a situation where the person doesn't agree with you and it bugs you terribly, try and get out of that phase and just play along. I'm not telling you to agree with everything they're saying. I'm not telling you that they're not going to say things that piss you off immensely. But just don't disagree. Try and change the topic as quickly as you can if you feel that you're not able to tolerate it. But the funny thing is that the longer you can withstand this emotional discordance, if you will, this feeling that you've got to tell them what you think, probably in an aggressive way, the more that person is likely to feel that you agree with them. That's not a problem. Don't agree with them overtly if you can. But don't insult them. Don't challenge them. Don't try and make them feel bad about what they think. And don't force your opinion down their throats. The fact that they've brought it up means that they want to talk about it. And it doesn't mean that they want to actually hear your opinion on the subject. It just means they feel the need to talk about it. They need somebody to lend an ear. So just give them an ear. Give them the feeling that you give a damn about the subject. If you don't, they're not going to like you. They're not going to want to talk to you. And again, it's not a question of ego. Get rid of the ego. If they have a particular opinion on these topics, then chances are you're not going to be able to change it. So why even try? But by trying to change their opinion, you are going to piss them off. So where's the win? It is a win-lose situation. The win is you don't leave them with the impression that you disagree with what they're saying, and they feel a sense of comfort in that. And don't get me wrong, if it precipitates and it carries on and it carries on and it carries on and they try to force it down your throat, then you are at some point going to stand up and go, hang on, this is a bit uncomfortable for me. But it's generally a very fleeting conversation. It doesn't require a lot of time or effort. Well, it doesn't require a lot of time. It generally requires a lot of effort. So, if you know it's going to happen, and you know people are going to bring it up, and that's the exact reason why people are told not to talk about it, and yet they do all the time, why not use it to your own advantage? And using it to your own advantage is tricking them into thinking that you agree with them without actually saying it. I'm guilty of the same thing. There's certain, I can handle the religion thing. try and handle the political thing. Oftentimes I'm extremely expressive on that topic, which gives people more of an incentive to try and convince me that they're right, and after all is said and done, they respect what I have to say. But that's just me. It's not easy for most people. I can't teach you how to do that. I don't even think about it whilst I'm doing that. As I said, religion, I just laugh off, because there's nothing I can say. Of course, grates me. The only topic that really gets under my skin is economics. I get really irritated when people talk about something that they completely have no clue of. And I haven't gotten to the point where if they say something that offends me on that topic, I can just take a step back and go, Obviously, depending on the person. If I consider them to be integral to whatever it is I'm trying to achieve, then boom, done. I just switch off. You got to go, it's the same process. That's a really interesting way of putting it. I never thought about it that way. That's just yeah, yeah, totally. Obviously, you got to say it sincerely. That's tough. But ultimately, what I'm saying is, don't shy away from sex, religion, and politics, because if they bring it up, then it's the perfect opportunity for you to get them to feel that they have some sort of connection. So, write off what you've been taught, write it off as a taboo. It is a taboo subject. Do not bring it up unless you are convinced that the person you're dealing with is open to your opinion. And the second you pick up that they aren't, backstep. Backstep. There's no point in forcing it down their throats, because obviously they're not interested, they're not open. You can tell when someone's prepared to listen and they're not. Prepared to take on what you're saying and they're not. So, write it off. But yeah, so if you confront it with that scenario, then that's the perfect opportunity. Use that to your advantage. If they think that you agree with them, or even they feel that there's any sort of accord with what they're talking about, then that'll make them feel better, and they'll probably like you for it. And at the end of the day, there's always an end goal. There has to be an end goal. It's inconvenient, but it's true.